You're not tired, you're untrained. That feeling you call laziness isn't a lack of energy. It's a failure in mental combat. You're losing a war against your own weakness every single day. The battlefield is your mind, and the enemy is hesitation. It's the gap between knowing what you have to do and actually doing it. And in that gap, ambition dies, potential decays. Your future is being held hostage by your present self's addiction to comfort. But what if you could learn the art of this war from the most ruthless strategist who ever lived, a man undefeated in over 60 duels, not because he was the strongest, but because he was the most disciplined. This is Miyamoto Musashi's ruthless protocol for weaponizing your focus and destroying the enemy of hesitation for good. Let's be honest about what laziness really is. It's not the dignified rest of a body that's earned it. It's a quiet, corrosive rust of the spirit. It's the endless scroll, the "I'll do it tomorrow," the negotiation you have with yourself where you always, somehow, manage to lose. You have a fortress of ambition in your mind, but you leave the front gate wide open for the enemy to just walk right in. That enemy is hesitation. Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary 17th century Ronin, understood this better than anyone. His life was proof that the real battle isn't fought with steel, but with an unbreakable will. He lived a life of extreme discipline, not because he was a monk looking for peace, but because he was a warrior seeking victory in everything he did. His masterpiece, the Book of Five Rings, isn't just a manual for sword fighting, it's a guide to mastering yourself. It's about closing that gap between thought and action until they become one unstoppable force. Modern life, with its endless stream of dopamine hits and distractions, is the perfect training ground for this inner weakness. Every notification, every easy pleasure, every chance to choose comfort over effort, it all reinforces the habit of hesitation. Musashi's philosophy is the antidote, and it's not about motivation. Motivation is a fair weather friend. It disappears when you need it most. Discipline is the sword you carry in the storm. Musashi wrote, "Do nothing which is of no use." Laziness, by its very definition, is useless. It is the enemy, and the enemy must be crushed. This isn't a gentle path. This is a warrior's path. It requires you to see your weakness, not as a flaw to be managed, but as an opponent to be annihilated. Today, we learn Musashi's ruthless protocol for doing exactly that. We're going to forge your focus into a weapon. The first and most critical principle comes from Musashi's Scroll of Fire. In it, he details his combat tactics. And the core message is brutally simple. Seize the initiative. Don't wait. Don't react. Attack. When you face an opponent, you crush them right at the start with overwhelming force and speed. You don't give them a second to think, to find their balance, or to mount a defense. The spirit of fire is fierce, and so is battle. Now apply this to laziness, that feeling of lethargy, the urge to procrastinate, the voice that whispers later. That is your opponent. The moment you feel it, the duel begins. Your mistake has always been trying to negotiate with it. You entertain its arguments. You weigh the comfort of doing nothing against the distant reward of doing something. Musashi's way is to give it no quarter. The instant you recognize the urge to be lazy, you attack it with immediate physical action. Don't think, don't reason, move. If the task is to study, you open the book. If it's to exercise, you put on your shoes. If it's to work on that project, you open the document. That first move, that initial strike, is everything. It shatters the enemy's stance, Think of it this way. Procrastination is the art of letting your opponent draw their sword first. By the time you finally decide to act, you're already on the defensive, blocking blows of self-doubt and accumulated dread. Musashi's strategy is to strike while the enemy's sword is still in its sheath. The battle is won in that first second of defiance. In his writing, Musashi stresses the importance of controlling the fight's pace to break your opponent's rhythm. Laziness has a rhythm. It's slow, sluggish, and circular. It feeds on itself. By attacking with fire, you impose your own rhythm, a rhythm of action, decisiveness, and momentum. You don't need to feel motivated. You only need to be obedient to this one principle. The moment the enemy appears, you strike without a shred of hesitation. Every day, every hour, you must practice this response. The way is in the training. If this strategy is hitting home and you're ready to stop negotiating with your own weakness, then take the first step. Subscribe to this channel. It's a small action, but it's an immediate one. It's a commitment to forging this new mindset. Join us and continue the training. After the ferocity of fire comes the most profound of Musashi's teachings. The scroll of the void or time's Mushin, which translates to no mind, is a state where your mind is empty of thought, emotion, and hesitation. It's a state of pure, thoughtless action. But this isn't the passive, peaceful emptiness of a quiet afternoon. This is weaponized emptiness. It is the calm, cold clarity of a warrior in the heart of a duel. Laziness thrives in the noise of your mind. It lives in the space where you overthink, where you doubt, where you fear failure, where you calculate the effort. The voice of laziness says, "This is too hard, I'm too tired, but what if I fail?" To enter the void is to silence that voice. It's to achieve a state where you act without the burden of your own thoughts. Musashi taught that when you're truly in the void, your actions become spontaneous and perfect for the situation, because they aren't being filtered through the clumsy, slow process of conscious thought. You simply see and you do. So how do you practice this? You train yourself to detach from that internal monologue. When a task is in front of you, you refuse to engage with the story your mind tells about it. You don't think about how hard it is, or how long it will take, or how you don't feel like doing it. You treat those thoughts for what they are, meaningless noise. You let them pass right through you, leaving no trace. This is the ultimate form of focus. Focus isn't about forcing your mind onto one thing. It's about emptying your mind of everything else. By seeing the thoughts that hold you back, you can learn to operate from the space beyond them. A practical way to train this is through single tasking with ferocious intent. Choose one task for a set amount of time, whether it's 25 minutes or an hour. Your entire world is that single task. No checking your phone, no opening another tab, no letting your mind wander. When distracting thoughts arise, you don't fight them. You just let them go and return your awareness to the task. You are training yourself to operate from a place of doing, not thinking. You are learning to act from the void, where laziness can't get a foothold. Because laziness is a thought, and you're in a state beyond thought. One of Musashi's most powerful principles, from his times Dokudo times or the way of walking alone, is this: think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. This is a direct assault on the ego, which is the hidden commander of your laziness. Think about it. Laziness is profoundly selfish. It prioritizes your fleeting feelings over your actual purpose. It says, "My comfort right now is more important than the duty I have to my future self, my family, or my work." It's your ego that feels tired, that feels unmotivated, that fears judgment, and that craves easy pleasure. To think lightly of yourself is to detach from this needy, emotional part of your being. Your feelings don't matter, your moods are irrelevant, your internal complaints are just static. You're a warrior with a mission. And a warrior doesn't pause mid-battle to check in with his feelings. He acts based on his duty. By detaching from your personal drama, you free up a massive amount of energy. At the same time, you must think deeply of the world. This means shifting your focus from your internal state to your external purpose. What is the task in front of me? Why is it important? What is the strategy to get it done? You become a strategist, not a victim of your own moods. Your focus is on the world, on the work, on the path, not on your own petty comforts or complaints. When you're faced with something you don't want to do, instead of focusing on your reluctance, focus deeply on the task itself. Break it down. Analyze the first step. See it not as some huge burden, but as a series of strategic moves. When your mind is occupied with strategy and execution, it has no time for the self-pity that laziness needs to survive. Musashi wrote the Dokudo a week before his death. This principle wasn't about self-deprecation, it was about liberation. When you think lightly of yourself, you are no longer a slave to your emotions. You are free to serve your purpose with unwavering clarity. Laziness dies when the ego is starved of the attention it craves. Your mission becomes everything. Your feelings become nothing. Miyamoto Musashi's teachings aren't self-help platitudes. They are a warrior's code for a life of discipline, action, and victory. His philosophy is a weapon. The protocol is clear. 1. Attack with fire. The moment you feel hesitation, you strike with immediate action. Don't give the enemy a single moment. 2. Enter the void. Empty your mind of the noise of doubt and excuses. Act from a state of pure focus, where the action and the actor become one. 3. Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. Detach from your fleeting feelings. Your mission is your master, not your mood. You're not tired. You have been negotiating with weakness. You're not lazy. You have been untrained in the art of mental warfare. Musashi's path isn't easy, but it is a path to power. It reframes laziness not as a personal failing, but as a strategic error. Correct the error, and you win the war. The choice, as always, is yours. You can keep living at the mercy of your weakest impulses, a shadow of the person you could be. Or you can pick up the sword. Today is victory over the you of yesterday. The training continues. Subscribe if you're ready to crush your old self.